Unlocking the hidden wisdom of a 700-year-old tome, Awaken to unseen dimensions. I never expected a single dream to change everything. But the moment I slipped into sleep that night, my mundane world began to unravel. It started with whispers. Soft, distant murmurs that wrapped around me like tendrils of fog. I was in a forest, ancient trees towering upwards, their gnarled branches twisted and bent in almost human-like agony. The air crackled with energy, thick and charged. I could feel every heartbeat in my chest, every rustle of leaves a secret being shared. That I wandered deeper into this dream, my pulse racing as a flicker of light caught my eye. There it was, a book, resting on a pedestal of stone, covered in moss that seemed to shimmer in colors unseen. It drew me in, each step feeling both heavy and electric. What knowledge was hidden within its pages? I could hear the leaves whispering my name, urging me closer, teasing me with the promise of forgotten wisdom, but I woke up to reality, the sound of my alarm ripping me from that mystical realm. I lay there, breathless and terrified. What if that book, what if those whispers were real? I needed answers. The weight of that dream pressed on my mind as I flipped through abandoned tomes at the local library, regret washing over me as I realized how many spirits of the past were left unexplored, left unheard. Each page I turned felt like a cosmic hand tugging at my soul, pulling me towards an upheaval I didn't yet understand. The written words seemed to vibrate with a light of their own, stirring the dust motes in the air around me. It was all too strange, all too right. Yet with each unturned leaf, unanswered questions coiled tighter in my chest. What did I miss? Was there truly a hidden path somewhere? As night fell, I returned to that dream. The whispers came again, louder, clawing at my insides now, but this time something was different. A shadow loomed over the book, an echo of doubt seeping into my bones. What will you sacrifice? It asked, the voice low and chilling. A sudden rush of fear gripped me, my breath hitching as the trees swayed ominously. What price was I willing to pay for knowledge that could transform my life forever? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. The echoes of that chilling inquiry lingered in my mind as I fumbled to awaken, sweat slicked and shaking. What would I sacrifice? The answer had been elusive even in the dream's fading grasp. The sun spilled its light over my room, illuminating the dust floating lazily in the air, but I felt anything but settled. Instead, I felt a call, a magnetic pull toward the edge of the unknown. That day, I wandered through the labyrinthine aisles of the library, following the instinctive pull of the whispers from my dreams. A particular section called to me, the mystical and the occult. The tome had not left my thoughts. I couldn't shake off the image of its moss-covered spine. What if there were pieces of guidance embedded in these texts, fragments that could illuminate my path? As I reached for an ancient-looking book bound in weathered leather, a folded note fell from its pages. Unfolding it, I discovered a message written in a delicate script: seek the place where shadows collide. My heart quickened. Was this a clue? It felt like receiving a gift from the universe, a breadcrumb leading me deeper into the forest of my own curiosity. Determined, I left the library and ventured to the nearest park, a small wooded area known only to the local children. The air was crisp, filled with the scent of damp earth and pine. I walked the familiar paths, but now, they felt enchanted, charged with the same energy as my dreams. Shadows danced between the trees, and I found myself searching for the spot where their shapes intertwined, where the light faded into the darkness. Hours slipped away as I wandered, and just as I thought to turn back, I stumbled upon a grove, the trees arching over me as if protecting a special secret. In the center stood a massive oak, its twisted roots sprawling like a gnarled hand. It felt ancient, wise, and as I placed my palm against its rough bark, a shiver coursed through me, an electric connection across time and space. Suddenly, a vision flickered before me. Suddenly, I was not just touching the oak, but rather part of an ancient ceremony. Figures wreathed in shadows danced around the tree, chanting, their faces hidden by cloaks. I watched as they placed a small, glowing stone at the tree's base, a precious offering from their hands. The air thickened with purpose as an unseen force rose like vapor around them, intermingling with the whispers I had come to recognize. Guardians, I thought, understanding their reverence for this ancient being, for the wisdom it housed. The vision faded, leaving me breathless, my mind racing. What did this unveiling mean? I sensed that the stone was more than a mere object. It was a conduit of knowledge, a key hidden within realms I had yet to explore. As dusk began to drape its velvet cloak over the grove, the shadows grew longer, and I was struck by the weight of realization. This was only the beginning. The book, the whispers, the sacrificate was all intertwined in a tapestry yet to be unraveled. What was I being prepared for? What would I have to let go of to access the depths of the hidden wisdom? Questions whirled through me as shadows danced at the periphery. This journey seemed to ask more of me than I had anticipated, challenging the very core of my existence. I couldn't help but wonder, in pursuit of enlightenment, what shadows lurked within me, waiting to be acknowledged. The next day dawned with a mist clinging to the ground, blurring the edges of the world as if to soften its truths. I felt the pull of the oak still reverberating within me, a heartbeat echoing in tandem with my own. I had learned that the pursuit of wisdom often meant plunging into layers of reality obscured by complacency. With each experience, the fog of my understanding began to lift, yet it only revealed more questions than answers. That I found myself returning to the library, drawn like a moth to the flickering flame of knowledge hidden in those dim aisles. This time, I ventured deeper into a section dedicated to folklore and ancient myths. I rifled through dusty tomes, each one a portal igniting sparks of curiosity. Suddenly, a familiar moss-covered spine caught my eye, an elder edition of the book I had first noticed, its pages filled with stories of seekers and wanderers who had walked similar paths. Flipping through the yellowed pages, I searched for clues, for guidance in jump-starting what felt like a dormant part of my spirit. Thoughts of the guardians and their offerings swirled in my mind like leaves whipped into a frenzy by the wind. I stumbled upon a passage about a ritual, the Night of Shadows, where seekers would gather to confront their inner demons and offer their burdens to the ancient oaks that stood sentinel over their trials. It was as if the words leaped off the page, weaving through my consciousness, urging me to embrace my journey and the shadows I had thus far kept at bay. With each word, I felt the familiarity of my own struggles reflected back at me. The sacrifices involved were not just the tangible objects to be relinquished, but the intangible shadows of fear, doubt, and regret that lay nestled within my heart, cloaked in chains I had created myself. This ancient rite beckoned me to unearth them. Could I truly face what lurked in the depths of my being? A surge of determination propelled me outside once more, reminding me that the only way through was to confront those parts of myself I had tucked away. I made my way back to the grove, the sun now casting slanted rays through the fir trees, transforming the world into a cathedral of light and shadow. As I stood before the sacred oak, I felt on the precipice of something vast and unfathomable. Gathering stones from a nearby creek, I crafted a small altar at the tree's base, a dedication to the guardians of wisdom and the unseen energies swirling around me. I placed a stone for each burden I wished to relinquish, the fear of inadequacy, the dread of failure, and the regret of unmade choices. Each stone felt heavy with significance, yet, like offerings to a sacred flame, they also hummed with the promise of release. With each stone placed, a flicker of energy shot through my spine. I closed my eyes, and the world receded, replaced by a tableau of my life. Shadows writhed in the throes of recognition, and I saw in haunting clarity the faces of moments that had shaped me, moments of pain, of sorrow, but also of joy and triumph. In acknowledging their presence, I felt less like a solitary traveler and more like a part of a grander narrative. Then came an unexpected whisper, a voice woven through the branches of the oak and the wind. The shadows that frighten you hold your greatest wisdom, it urged, both tender and insistent that I gasped, the truth crashing into me like a wave. In seeking to cast away my shadows, I had overlooked their gifts, the lessons hidden within their folds. Perhaps the question was not just what I would sacrifice but rather what I would learn from what I let go. It was a radical understanding. Even in darkness, light found its way. Even as I knelt there, the answers danced on the periphery, just out of reach. A shadow passed over my mind, lingering before slipping back into the depths of the woods. As the sun began its descent, casting long fingers of light across the grove, I understood that my journey had just begun. What more would I uncover hidden within those shadows? As I stood to leave, I realized I was not just uncovering wisdom, I was learning to weave together the fragments of my soul. But what would it take for me to embrace the fullness of my truth? That question lingered in the air, unanswered and aching to be explored. The following day greeted me with an unusual stillness, the kind that hints at something significant resting just beneath the surface. I awoke to find the air thick with an almost palpable energy, as if the world held its breath, waiting for my next move. After my experience with the oak and the stones, I felt an inexplicable urgency urging me forward, leading me toward the unknown. Compelled by an invisible thread weaving through my heart, I made my way back to the library, though this time, my footsteps felt lighter, as if each step was buoying me toward discovery. The ancient tome still echoed in my mind, its whispers resonating with a truth I had only begun to comprehend. As I entered, the familiar scent of old paper and polished wood wrapped around me, a sacred embrace welcoming me back. Immediately, I was drawn to the corner of the room where the flickering light of a nearby window illuminated a collection of parchment scrolls. They appeared untouched by time, their edges frayed and fragile. I approached them slowly, respect emanating from every fiber of my being. Was there more wisdom hidden within these delicate texts? Fingers trembling with anticipation, I unrolled one of the scrolls, revealing elaborate illustrations of mythical creatures and cryptic symbols. The intricate lines spoke of journeys beneath the earth and above the sky, of seekers venturing into realms that defied understanding. I noticed a small passage at the bottom that detailed a vision quest, an ancient practice where seekers would immerse themselves in nature to receive insight and guidance directly from the universe. The words leaped off the page: to find the answers you seek, you must first learn to listen to the silence within. A shiver raced down my spine as realization dawned on me. My previous endeavors had been filled with spoken rituals and chanted prayers, but this wisdom urged me to turn inward, to delve beneath the surface of sound and chaos that I often occupied. With newfound urgency, I sought a place of solitude in Eturia sanctuary where I could attune myself to the sounds of the earth and the cadence of my spirit. I walked out of the library, my heart thrumming in harmony with the world around me. The forest seemed to lean in, eager to accompany me on this new phase of my journey. It wasn't long before I stumbled upon a bubbling creek, its soft murmurs inviting me to sit at its edge. I deposited myself on a mossy rock, closed my eyes, and allowed the sounds to wash over me: gurgling of the water, the rustle of leaves, the distant flutter of wings. I focused on my breath, inhaling deeply the fragrance of damp earth, and letting it mix with the vibrant energy of the moment. Time slipped away, and soon I found myself hovering between realms, teetering on the precipice of awareness. Voices echoed faintly, the laughter of children, the sadness of parting, the warmth of connection. In that stillness, images began to flicker in my mind's eye, seemingly unrelated memories now woven together by threads of understanding. Each fragment, a clue, every vision, a whisper of guidance urging me to embrace the totality of my experience. Then, I felt a surge of energy spiraling through my being like fire. It awakened parts of me that had long lain dormant, igniting a sense of purpose I hadn't dared explore before. Eager to capture the essence of my revelations, I grabbed a handful of soil and crushed it gently between my fingers, letting it fall back to the earth from which it came. With every grain, I released my doubts, allowing the energy to take root, fostering growth within. But just as quickly as the visions descended, they began to fade, shimmering into the shadows of my mind. I opened my eyes, yearning to hold on to what I had glimpsed. There was a truth somewhere within that silence, a truth that danced tantalizingly out of reach. What did it mean to listen to the silence within? How could I cultivate the awareness required to decipher those faint echoes? As I rose to leave the creek, I felt a sense of imbalance stirring within, like a pendulum. Swinging, unsure of where to settle. I had touched upon something profound, yet the flame of clarity flickered dimly amid the uncertainties. My heart wrestled with longing and fear, as I pondered, what depths lay concealed beneath layers untouched? What unknown paths might I traverse if I dared to truly listen? And so, I continued on, questions trailing behind me like a soft whisper, urging me to venture deeper into the unknown. Each inquiry intertwined with another as I strode back toward the oak grove, the sun descending gently behind me, casting an amber glow over the world. What was the universe trying to reveal, and would I find the courage to embrace the quest of discovery in its entirety? As I stepped further into the grove, the world around me transformed under the cloak of twilight. Shadows stretched and danced like whispers, each tree becoming a sentinel, marking my passage into realms uncharted. The oak's gnarled branches held secrets woven into their bark, the kind that dared only the brave to unearth. Eager to delve deeper, I settled onto the cool earth beneath the oak, its roots curling like fingers reassuringly cradling me in their embrace. The air, thick with the scent of rich earth and wood smoke from distant fires, cradled my senses. I closed my eyes once more, surrendering to the stillness as if being drawn into a dream. An indigo night wrapped around me, and suddenly, the bated breath of the universe surged, a wave crashing over my consciousness. I felt a presence, a kindred spirit beckoning from realms beyond sight. Images poured into my mind, tangled threads of countless lives intertwined in a tapestry of experience. There was laughter, heartache, and an overwhelming beauty contained in every moment. Just as I sought clarity, the echoes of my own life emerged within this intricate web, revealing the kaleidoscope of choices I had made. Each breath became a portal, each heartbeat resonated with a pulse that felt both foreign and intimately familiar. The oak spoke to me, each rustle of its leaves becoming a syllable of wisdom. I was reminded of the scroll's teachings: to listen is to embrace the myriad of voices within. I instinctively sought to grasp their meaning, to pinpoint each frequency of insight, but in that quest, I realized, understanding cannot be forced, only allowed. A flicker of movement caught my attention. I opened my eyes to see a silver fox emerge gracefully from the underbrush. Its eyes, glimmering with an otherworldly knowing, locked onto mine, communicating through a language older than words. This creature, resilient and agile, traversed the boundaries of our worlds with ease, embodying a spirit that danced on the edge of magic. It paused, as if inviting me to follow, encouraging me to explore the depths of intuition. With a breath of resolve, I rose and stepped forward, the fox gliding through the foliage, and I, clumsily, faithfully behind. This was no ordinary pursuit, I was weaving closer to the heart of my truth. The path twisted and turned, each footfall guided by the light of the fading sun until we reached a secluded glen illuminated by the silvery glow of the rising moon. In this sacred space, the air hummed with a palpable energy, and I felt the weight of generations whispering through the winds. Here, the fox paused and turned, sitting before me as if awaiting the unveiling of a secret. I knelt, feeling the cool ground beneath me, grounding my restlessness and nurturing my spirit. An unexpected stillness settled, and I closed my eyes yet again. Images re-emerged, visions of vibrant landscapes, bustling communities, and echoes of ancient rituals. The themes of connection, community, and remembrance wove their way into my heart's fabric. I recalled the library, the knowledge held within those dusty tomes, and recognized a thread of wisdom running through it all: the importance of one's roots, the beauty of belonging, and the sacred nature of sharing one's journey. But a new question dawned, one laden with uncertainty. What if the answers lay not only in solitary journeying but also in the spaces where we connected with others? When they spoke, did their voices intertwine with mine in a way that opened doors to greater understanding? The mystery deepened, enticing me with the tantalizing allure of communal discovery. As these thoughts stirred within me, I peered into the depth of the fox's gaze, sensing a knowingness echoed in the depth of its being. We were not separate but part of a larger narrative, stories intertwined, ebbing and flowing through the ages. I felt the energy of my journey extending outward, inviting others to come along, to share in the discoveries, and to create a mosaic of dreams and lived experiences. Yet, as I marveled at this fresh perspective, uncertainty flickered anew. Would the other seekers be as eager for connection? What if I found myself back in isolation, drowning in voices unheard? Each inquiry prompted further introspection, and I felt the gentle presence of the moon, a sentinel in the night sky, guiding me toward acceptance. As I rose to leave the glen, I understood that the way forward required balance, an internal dance between solitude and communion. Clarity eluded me still, the answers sought remained entwined with questions yet unasked. What connections were waiting to be explored, and how might they reveal the deeper mysteries of my journey? With thoughts entwined in a tapestry of wonder, I followed the fox back through the grove, each step resonating with discovery and every question urging me toward illumination. The night awaited, filled with possibilities, and I wondered, could listening become the key to unlocking the vastness of our collective wisdom? As I retraced my steps through the enchanted grove, the silver fox by my side, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was at the threshold of something monumental. The moonlight painted my path in hues of silver and shadow, each ray of illumination guiding me not just through the dark wood, but into the very depths of my being. With every heartbeat, I reflected on my question, the threads of connection woven through the tapestry of existence, that I could feel the pulse of life surrounding me. The owls hooted softly from their perches, their calls resonating with the wisdom of the night. I drew a deep breath, inhaling the cool air that hummed with unseen energy. Through the veil of the familiar, I began to perceive signs: slender branches swaying in rhythm, fallen leaves whispering ancient tales caught on the breeze. This grove held stories in its roots and echoes in its rustling leaves, waiting for an ear willing to listen. With my curiosity rekindled, I paused before a gnarled tree with a hollow at its base. This living archive seemed to call out to me, a silent witness to the many souls that had passed beneath its canopy. Crouching down, I peered into the hollow, half expecting to find nothing but shadows. Instead, there lay a collection of objects: smooth stones, delicate feathers, and twisted roots, each imbued with an energy that thrummed under my fingertips as I sifted through them. It struck me then how these simple remnants were tokens of existence, remnants of stories waiting to be unearthed. An insistent pull urged me to take a feather, its lightness and fragility a reminder of the delicate balance between existence and the unseen forces guiding us. I slid it into my pocket, feeling its potential vibrate against my skin, a tiny yet powerful symbol of my quest for truth. With renewed determination, I rose and met the gaze of my fox companion, whose amber eyes held 1,000 tales yet to be told. Continuing along my path, I encountered a small gathering of fireflies, their flickering lights darting in patterns that felt like a language of their own. I recalled the scroll's teachings of geometry, the sacred shapes and rhythms that mirrored the universe. Were these fireflies trying to convey hidden messages? A part of me wished to capture that illumination, to unravel their dance and translate it into meaning. But suddenly, the flash of light vanished, leaving darkness in their wake. Was this an invitation to embrace the ephemeral rather than seek to possess it? Lost in contemplation, I wandered until I reached the edge of the grove, where a brook meandered its way through the landscape. The water shimmered under the moon, sparkling like diamonds scattered upon a dark velvet cloth. There, perched on a stone, a wise old turtle blinked slowly, seeming to embody the patience of the ages. I felt drawn to it, as if in that quiet contemplation lay the answers I sought. I settled beside the brook, the soft sounds of flowing water lulling me into stillness. I watched the turtle surface and dive beneath the water, an act echoing a profound truth: sometimes wisdom is submerged, requiring time, patience, and trust to draw forth. I realized that connectedness extends even to stillness, that active listening is not just about the words spoken aloud but also about being present in the silence shared. I closed my eyes, and as I listened to the brook's song, my thoughts wandered back to the fleeting fireflies. Perhaps they, too, were messages of impermanence, narratives interrupted, fleeting encounters that beckoned me to savor each moment. I pondered the interplay between connection and solitude, the currents of thought swirling in the brook, blending and separating as they traveled onward, but a nagging question loomed: how could I deepen my understanding without losing the essence of my solitary exploration? If wisdom resides within the fibers of connection, how might I weave those ties while maintaining my unique thread? The turtle, unmoving, seemed to invite me to embrace the paradox: both journeying alone and traveling together reveal profound insights. As I left the brook, I carried the lessons with me: the feather, a gentle reminder of lightness; the turtle, an embodiment of patience; and the brook, a source of tranquility. I was ready to forge ahead, weaving these symbols into the fabric of my journey. The night held mysteries yet to unfold, and the stories beckoned me further. With every step, the questions stirred in a rhythm all their own. What new connections awaited on this journey? Was it possible to find a balance between offering knowledge and receiving wisdom? Could the unseen dimensions of our existence reveal themselves through the act of sharing, thereby deepening my understanding of the universe's vast tapestry? And in that moment of pondering, I felt the pulse of the cosmos beating in unison with my tan infinite echo, inviting me into the dance of discovery, where every question broadened the horizon of potential. As the silver fox trotted ahead, I wondered, what other dimensions of wisdom might yet reveal themselves to those unafraid to listen? The moon hung higher now, a luminous sentinel casting its glow over the vast expanse of the grove. With each step forward, the underbrush crackled beneath my weight as the silver fox led the way through the thickening woods. The feather in my pocket felt alive against my hip, a talisman of potential and promise. I knew, as daylight fades into twilight, that this journey would uncover more than I could fathom. My senses heightened, I followed the rustle of the leaves, which now seemed to beckon me with words unspoken. Underneath that veil of rustling foliage, I felt the presence of unseen watchers. Were they guardians, spirits, or simply echoes of those who had once traversed this path seeking truths of their own? I paused and closed my eyes, allowing my other senses to awaken. The world was more than just sight, it was sound, smell, and the very essence of the air that felt charged with anticipation. As I continued onward, a gentle breeze enveloped me, its coolness bringing with it the scent of wildflowers sweet and invigorating. It beckoned my eyes to the ground where small blossoms peeped shyly through the undergrowth, their colors vivid yet subdued, as if aware of the balance between beauty and vulnerability. Each petal seemed to tell a story of resilience, of the journey from seed to blossom, a reminder that growth often requires the courage to push through darkness and uncertainty. Drawn to a cluster of flowers, I knelt again, running my fingers over their velvety petals. I noticed a faint shimmer within the heart of each bloom, an inner luminescence that pulsed with rhythm, syncing with the beating of my heart. Perhaps these flowers held within them a lesson about the interconnectedness of joy and struggle, that beauty arises not just from the sunlight of success but also from the shadows of hardship. A soft rustle drew my attention back to my surroundings. The silver fox stood alert, watching something with a keen intensity. Following its gaze, I found a figure cloaked in the fabric of night, wisps of shadow swirling around as if alive. It bore no distinct features, yet its presence radiated a palpable energy. I felt a mix of intrigue and apprehension. This was no ordinary encounter, it possessed an air of significance that resonated in the very fibers of my being. Tread lightly, the figure whispered, its voice an enchanting melody, flowing like water over a smooth stone. Truths wish to be unveiled, but the path you seek is laid in the unmindfulness of judgment. Who are you? I asked, my voice tinged with awe. A keeper of stories, it replied, stepping forward, revealing a glimmering mask that reflected fragments of the grove around us. I exist in the spaces between thoughts, where questions linger like unturned stones. I am your invitation to explore past, present, and possibility. My heart raced at the realization that I was standing before one who could weave together realms unseen, tethering my wandering spirit to the very fabric of existence. The keeper extended a hand, gesturing toward the darkness around us. Would you like to witness the threads of connection? It offered. There was a sense of urgency in its tone, a compulsion to venture deeper into the labyrinth of wisdom. Before I could respond, the forest began to shift, the trees swayed and pulsed as if awakening from slumber, their gnarled roots stretching into the earth while their branches reached for the stars. The air thickened with potential, and I felt an unfurling sensation in my chest, an awakening calling me forward. Yes, I breathed, overwhelmed with the weight of possibility. Watch closely, it said, and as I did, a tapestry began to emerge in the air, a fluid weaving of lives, choices, and dreams. I could see threads intertwining with others, creating patterns of joy, sorrow, triumph, and defeat, a beautifully chaotic intertwining of existence. Each thread sparkled with individuality yet remained part of a greater whole. In awe, I watched the stories unfold within this tapestry, the laughter of children dancing in golden fields, the quiet wisdom exchanged. Between elder and youth, moments of despair transformed into resilience. It was an intricate reminder that every life is a thread in a larger design, each moment an opportunity to connect or diverge. Then, the tapestry shimmered and darkened, revealing shadows cast in fear and regret, paths forked by choices made in haste. With each passing moment, the tapestry intertwined and transformed, embodying the very essence of life, a constant dance between the seen and unseen. Every thread holds a story, the keeper whispered, as if reading my thoughts. A choice made in love or fear, an act of compassion or isolation. To understand one's own path is to embrace the entirety of the weave. I felt those words seep into my soul, resonating with clarity. Yet a new question began to unfurl within me: how do we discern which threads to follow, which paths to honor? As I stood enveloped by the swirling truths, I felt a surge of uncertainty. Was I prepared to engage with the complexities of the tapestry while staying grounded in my own narrative? The silver fox nudged my side, grounding me as the vision began to wane, the shimmering threads retracting into darkness, leaving me with a sense of wonder and urgency. The keeper, now but a wisp of shadow, offered a lingering reminder. Listen to the stories that seek to intertwine with yours. They hold the keys to understanding, but you must dare to question and explore. As the grove settled into stillness once again, I breathed deeply, feeling the weight of the feather in my pocket, the anchoring energy of the turtle in my heart, while the brook's song lingered in my mind. Each moment was a thread waiting to be woven, but how would I navigate the dance of my own existence within this grand tapestry? With my heart full and mysteries swirling, I ventured forth into the embrace of the night, pondering what stories awaited me, and what new dimensions of truth I could uncover. How might I awaken to the unseen while keeping my own narrative pivotal in the vast realm of interconnected stories? The answers, I felt, were waiting just out of reach, beckoning me toward new realms of discovery, inviting me deeper still. The night wrapped around me like a velvety cloak, stars shimmering faintly beyond the canopy. I followed the silver fox, now a steadfast guide in this enchanting darkness. The cool air hummed with an energy that invited deeper contemplation, urging me to reflect on the revelations I had just witnessed. Moving through the grove, I began to notice the interplay of shadows and light, each flickering glimpse of illumination a reminder of duality, the essential balance that coursed through every aspect of existence. I pondered the wisdom of the keeper, how each thread in the tapestry of life offered lessons not only to be observed but also to be embraced and understood. Suddenly, a soft light flickered ahead. With cautious curiosity, I hurried toward the source, my heart drumming with mingled anticipation and trepidation. As I approached, I found an ancient well, its stone walls worn and adorned with vibrant moss, the mouth of the well glowing with a gentle, yet commanding light. The silver fox paused, its eyes reflecting the ethereal glow, as if encouraging me to draw nearer. Kneeling at the edge, I peered into the depths. The water shimmered, undisturbed, mirroring the moonlight like a polished mirror. But as I gazed deeper, ripples began to form, twisting into shapes that spoke of stories long forgotten. Faces emerged, each one telling a tale of struggle, love, loss, and healing, a parade of human experience woven together by the common threads of longing and discovery. Drink from the well, came a voice from within the depths, both familiar and foreign, echoing the melody of the keeper from before. It resonated like the calming sound of water flowing over stones, creating a rhythm that urged me to listen closely. Reveal to yourself what has been hidden, and unearth the wisdom that lies dormant within. Tentatively, I cupped my hands and drew water from the well, the coolness invigorating my senses. As the droplets cascaded into my palms, I felt a surge of energy pulsing through me, a connection that transcended time, linking me not only to the stories I beheld but to the very essence of existence itself. With my heart racing, I took a sip. The water tasted of earth and salt, woven with echoes of laughter and terse, a blend so rich it felt as if I was drinking the essence of life itself. Instantly, visions crashed into my mind like waves against the shore. That I saw moments from my own life splashed alongside those of strangers, laughter shared at a long-forgotten gathering, sorrow faced in quiet solitude, fleeting glimpses of kindness from unfamiliar faces. Each memory stitched together another layer of my narrative, revealing connections I had long overlooked. I felt the binding tapestry of our journeys, resonating within me, then, another image surfaced. The figure of the keeper loomed, guiding a child through a grove much like my own. Their hands intertwined, reflecting the simplicity and profound beauty of shared experience, the child's innocence juxtaposed with the adult's wisdom, each step a foundation set for the next generation. As I emerged from the reverie, my heart swelled with a newfound realization: every encounter, every moment held potential. We do not exist in isolation, our lives are an intricate interplay of shared energy. The burdens we carry become lighter when shared, and joys grow exponentially when celebrated together. But still, I wrestled with the haunting question of whether I could embrace this interconnectedness without losing my individuality. Would engaging too deeply dilute my own story, or could it enhance the colors of my journey? The silver fox rested its head against my shoulder, grounding me once more. I felt its warmth flow through me, a silent anchor amidst the unfolding mysteries. The well shimmered as I turned my gaze back to its depths, seeking clarity, seeking answers that remained tantalizingly out of reach. What do we hold on to in pursuit of connection? I whispered into the shimmering silence, my voice barely a ripple on the surface. How do we navigate between the self and the collective? The water remained still, reflecting the light of 1,000 unanswered questions while the forest breathed around me, a living tapestry brimming with potential stories. Each inhalation deepened my understanding of the journey at hand. With a heart alive with curiosity and a spirit eager for growth, I drew upon the lessons of the night and the whispers of the well, embracing the dance of connection that stretched beyond what I could perceive. As I prepared to leave the ancient well's embrace, I understood that the essence of wisdom lay not solely in resolution but in the rich unraveling of questions that linger. A journey of exploration without definitive boundaries. Venturing deeper into the grove, I let my uncertainty guide me toward new illuminated paths, embracing the wonder of the unknown. I endeavored to weave my own threads while remaining open to those I had yet to discover. Within the vastness of possibilities, my heart sought solace in the understanding that each question was but a portal to greater awareness. What would journeying forward reveal? What truths lay waiting like unturned stones on the path ahead? I stepped into the night, eager to find out. With the silver fox darting ahead, the grove began to shift subtly. The gentle breeze carried with it whispers, fragments of hushed conversations and laughter, weaving a narrative that seemed to echo from all corners of the forest. It was as if the very trees were alive, sharing the secrets of ages past while I walked among them, cradled in the warm embrace of their shadows. I could feel the pulse of the earth beneath my feet, the soft thrum like a heartbeat that beckoned me to listen closer. Each step drew me into a deeper resonance with the land, urging me toward a clearing that beckoned with an otherworldly radiance. Curiosity blossomed within me like the luminescent flowers that adorned the underbrush, unstoppable and yearning for discovery. As I approached, I spotted a peculiar structure bathed in an ethereal glow. Ancient and carved from a single piece of stone, it resembled a monolithic book with its pages turned wide open, each engraving on its surface saturated with symbols I could not decipher. The silver fox halted nearby, its tail twitching in anticipation, as if beckoning me forth. Kneeling before the tome, I traced a finger over one of the symbols. Instantly, a surge of energy ignited through my hand, and the air around me shimmered. A vision unfurled. I saw a gathering of seekers, men and women from various walks of life, each holding a different piece of wisdom, yet united in purpose. They formed an intricate circle of knowledge, their connectedness tangible, a bridge spanning the unknown. I sensed the weight of their shared experiences as they began to speak in harmonious tones, each voice blending into a symphony that transcended language. Their stories, filled with triumphs and trials, illuminated the truth that wisdom was never solely an individual possession, but rather a collective emergence born from authenticity and vulnerability. As each person surrendered their ego, the wisdom flowed freely between them. What struck me most was the absence of hierarchy. They didn't seek to dominate the conversation with their insights, nor did they dismiss one another's narratives. Instead, they amplified each other's voices until wisdom pulsed like a living being, revealing unseen dimensions of understanding, dimensions I hadn't yet begun to grasp. The vision faded as I pulled my hand away from the tome. The air grew still, and I took a step back, feeling daunted yet exhilarated by what I'd witnessed. Here was a reminder that the path of introspection did not exist in isolation, that engaged learning thrived through connection, not competition. From inside the hollow of the stone book, a soft light shimmered, seeming to beckon me closer. I felt compelled to look. Perhaps it held another key to the mysteries I sought. With tentative breaths, I leaned in, and to my astonishment, a small cascade of glimmering particles drifted upward, forming intricate patterns before my eyes. In the heart of that transitory dance, images of forgotten moments began filling the air, distant memories interlaced with dreams yet to come, spheres of existence swirling gracefully together. Fragments of lives untold emerged, a hand reaching out to assist a stranger, a child's laughter carried by the wind, the gentle grasp of another's hand in moments of sorrow. Here they all were, vibrant and Olivia, world woven with experiences spanning ages. What stories are waiting to be lived? I mused aloud, feeling an electric connection to the very essence of humanity inked across myriad stories. I realized then that these fragments, like pieces of a vast puzzle, would only fit together if we remained courageous and open-hearted in our pursuit of connection. It became apparent that fear of vulnerability often held us back from embracing the authenticity that births true wisdom. As I ruminated over these revelations, deep within lingered another unanswered question: how do we cultivate an environment where sharing our truths becomes a pathway to collective wisdom, rather than a mere exchange of facts? The wonder of this inquiry stirred within me, igniting a desire to discover ways to weave my voice into the chorus of humanity rather than merely echoing into silence. The silver fox, now seated serenely at my side, seemed to sense this burgeoning resolve. The world around me pulsed with anticipation, urging me to leap into the unknown, into spaces rich with stories and connection. Yet, I could not shake the thoughts haunting me like shadows in the twilight. What would I need to embrace within myself to allow this transformation? And what would emerge for me as I ventured to unlock the hidden wisdom layered beneath the fabric of unseen dimensions? With renewed determination, I began to understand that each step I took was part of a larger dialogue, a dance with life that demanded I engage its rhythm with courage and authenticity. With each beat of my heart, I welcomed the questions, ready to delve deeper into the embrace of exploration. What symphonies awaited as I ventured forth? What truths lay just beyond the edge of my understanding, shimmering like distant stars, waiting to illuminate the shadows of my journey? The grove enveloped me in its deepening embrace, and I stepped forward, eager to find out. As the grove enveloped me in its embracing shadows, I felt the momentum of my journey guiding me, propelling me toward a convergence of the dimensions I had sought all along. My heart raced with the knowledge that revelations on the horizon awaited, just steps away from the shimmering glow of the ancient stone tome. With each stride, the air thickened with possibility, a symphony of whispers promising that the culmination of my quest was drawing near. That I stood before the stone book again, its engravings pulsing with an energy that matched my own. I could sense its wisdom calling to me, an echo of my inner curiosity. I placed my palm gently on the surface, and once more, visions cascaded through my mind like sparkling waterfalls. This time, however, they flowed with clarity and purpose. That I saw myself sitting in circles with diverse souls, sharing our individual truths, our fears, and our dreams. Every heart had a thread, each voice a note interwoven in harmony. And amidst the exchange, when stories were laid bare, connections flourished, revealing pathways to profound understanding. In those shared moments, it became evident that it was not merely the answers we sought, it was the act of connecting through vulnerability that birthed true wisdom. The fox nuzzled against my leg, grounding me in this powerful realization. Here, nestled in the roots of this ancient place, I grasped the truth I had been whispering to the winds. The hidden wisdom I sought was never meant to rest solely within the pages of a tome or within the silence of solitude. It resided in the undeniable threads that linked us as a living tapestry of experiences and emotions, each unique, yet intricately bound to one another. An idea sparked brightly in my heart. It was time to transform my journey from an individual quest into a communal awakening. I longed to bring together seekers, those who carried their shadows with grace and those yearning to discover the light that lay hidden within them. We could each share our burdens, unveiling our truths to unveil each other's wisdom. It was in this dance of sharing that our shadows would unravel, revealing the luminosity of our collective consciousness. With resolve building within me, I stepped back from the stone tome and turned to the grove, where the trees breathed life into that very vision. If I am to cultivate this connection, I must be brave enough to extend my hand, I whispered to the air. I could feel the response of the universe, a gentle acknowledgement wrapped in the rustle of leaves, a knowing that resonated at the core of my spirit. As I made my way through the grove, a sense of unity washed over me. Everything, each tree, each flickering firefly, and every glimmering star above seemed to conspire to guide me toward my purpose. How could I invite others to weave their narratives into the fabric of our shared existence? I thought of the library, the circles of learning and sharing that could emerge from the pages waiting to be opened. I envisioned a gathering beneath the ancient oak, a ritual as sacred as the night of shadows I had read about, where seekers would lay bare their truths and offer their stories in communion, a celebration of our interconnectedness. The moon hung high and bright, a luminous beacon illuminating my path as I ventured homeward, my heart alight with newfound clarity. I understood that these questions, what threads needed embracing and what stories sought telling, were not just inquiries but invitations to embark on a journey of exploration as vast as the cosmos itself. Arriving at my door, I turned to look back at the grove, my heart swelling with gratitude. It had been a sanctuary, a womb of knowledge, cradling my aspirations, sorrows, and dreams. The silver fox stood watching, its eyes gleaming with a knowing that enveloped me in warmth. In that moment, I realized the most profound awakening lay within the recognition that we are never truly alone. Each path we traverse resonates with the echoes of others, creating a melody of existence that transcends the singularity of our experiences. With the weight of the journey resting gently on my soul and the universality of truth humming through my veins, I knew I had a mission to fulfill. Life was more than the shadows I had once feared. It was an invitation to embrace the full spectrum of existence, the joys, the heartaches, the connections, and the stories shared beneath the canvas of the night sky. And so, I vowed to gather the seekers. To create spaces where vulnerability transformed into strength, where knowledge became a symphony of human experience, echoing through time and igniting sparks of understanding within us all. This was not the end but the beginning of a communal journey, a pilgrimage to unlock the hidden wisdom tethered across unseen dimensions. As I closed the door behind me, I felt the winds of change rustle through my being. The answers awaited, shimmering in the dance between self and collective truth. The last rays of moonlight trickled through my window, illuminating my heart as I whispered into the quiet night. In our interconnected stories lies the awakening of our souls, for we are each the authors of life's greatest narrative. With that profound acknowledgement, I embraced the lingering questions, knowing they would guide me through the chapters yet to be, written a tapestry of wisdom unfolding before me, woven together by the invisible threads of love and connection.